my map around to give you space in there while leaving everything else as it was. The software can also allow you to take any branch and click, and that branch is then created into a child mind map, which you can then build, so you build on the branch. So with the computer software, you can drill down and down and down and down. Every branch on every mind map can become its own mind map, and every branch on that can become its own mind map. So you can really get into detail on the mind map. Now, the good news is that on thinkbuzan.com, which is the website, you can access that software. It's just come out in its 5th version, which includes the ability to make your mind map slightly three-dimensional. You can mind map on the internet. You can mind map with other people, so there could be 1,000 of you in 1,000 different cities. And you could mind map communally. So you can actually a global brainstorm with the software. And all of that to me is extremely good news, but even better news for you is that you can download it free. Free. So the basic professional version is free. And why? Because in addition to a lot of physical starvation in the world, there is perhaps even more mental starvation. And that is ultimately serious. And mind maps, in a sense, are food for the brain, and we thought there should be nobody. I mean, if you just think, can you name anyone or identify anyone who shouldn't have this information and the ability to use it or access it? And our answer was no. And therefore, the basic version, and it is professional level, is available free on the website. So that is my gift to you, even though you haven't graduated yet, which you will be doing shortly. So thinkbuzan.com, and you just download it. And people say, well, how long is it free for? It's free for as long as you live. And we expect you to live a long and productive life. Yes? It works on Mac, yeah, absolutely. Works on Microsoft. And anything that you want. We've set up a system with it because it's an intelligent tool, and we wanted it to be intelligent. So what we have is a government survey system. And if anybody notices something in the software that is not there that they would like, we ask them to let us know on the web. And there's an area where you can say, we want this, we want that, we want that. And every month, we will take the most asked for, the most requested addition or adjustment, and then do that. So you, in a sense, help us design what the brain actually needs. Okay, group. Also, some of you are asking about training in this material. We will be running licensed instructor courses in Mumbai. If you're interested, give us your business card with licensed instructor on it, and we will then let you know when we are organizing those. Those are 4-day-long courses in which you are taught how to mind map on the computer, and how to teach mind mapping to fundamentally anybody. So let us know. Yes?
Using software is 100 times powerful than doing with hand. I'll give my experiences. Like I was making a resume in mind map, and I showed I went to MBA program from California State, San Francisco. In that image, MBA California State, I did a Google search on pictures of San Francisco, and I took Golden Gate Bridge and Crooked Street, started there. Went for engineering college, Punjabi College. I inserted an image of the rock art of Chandigarh, which is very famous.
Yes.
Then I went to Japan for then I put an image of Japan scholarship program for innovation. The companies I visited, it was all Victoria. I'd like to share it. So with hand it's impossible for me.
Yes, one of the other advantages of the computer is that you can import images from anywhere. You know, millions and millions of images on the Google search. Therefore, you can build mind maps which are entirely images. And that's an excellent thing to do. My deep recommendation would be to learn art. How many of you here would find it almost genetically impossible to get a good degree in art? Where you had to draw, you had to paint, you had to sculpt, you had to do dimension, which is over 90% of you. So mind maps by hand are doomed. Now, how do you know this is metacognition? How do you know you could not get a good degree in art? Yeah, you've tried it, and you have identified that you are not good at it. It's not one of your basic skills. How many of you here are scientists? 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7 scientists. How many are not scientists? Okay. How sad. How sad. Remember, we are thinking about thinking today. This whole session is on the brain and creativity and learning mind mapping. The prime thing we have to learn to do is think and think about the way we think. So we have 2 nearly unanimous incapacities in this group. Not scientists and not artists. Now, if you wander around the planet knowing that you're not a scientist, and you meet a scientist, what are you going to feel? Intimidated, exactly the word. Or inferior, or bored, or dismissive, or worshipful, you know, whatever it happens to be. But you're not going to feel like one of them. You're not going to be a companion in science. You're going to be different. And if you're not an artist, and you know that genetically you are fundamentally incapable of being an artist, and you go to a gallery and you see a brilliant painting, what will you think? What will your reaction be? I wish I could be like that. Because I'm not. I wish I could be like that. But I am not. Or, I hate that because it makes me feel inferior. Now, how many of you, if I could wave a magic wand, and instantaneously you would be able to draw, paint, sketch, cartoon, how many of you would love it if I could do that? Being an artist is nearly everybody's dream. And nearly everybody knows they can't. And they know they can't because they are scientists. I'd like, give me a piece. Actually, I've got a piece here. We are in the process at the moment of changing your minds. First question, as we all know, we're not scientists. What is a scientist? What is this thing that you are not? A person who studies science. Now, we're not allowed to use that in the definition, are we? You can't say a scientist is a person who studies science. It doesn't particularly enhance your understanding. A person who does research. An intellectual genius. Who uses the scientific approach to any problem. And you are a scientist. Yes. Okay. So, sorry? Technological invention, experiment, which is the scientific method. So the scientific method, how many of you have heard about the scientific method? How many of you actually have learnt about the scientific method in school? Excellent. And the scientific method says what? You have an idea. You think about that idea, and then you wonder what would happen if. And you decide what you think would happen. What would happen if? So you think, yeah, I think that would happen. And then you check to see whether what you think would happen. And that is called the experiment. So you do what it is that you need to do to check whether it would happen. And you get a result. And the result either confirms that it does happen or confirms that it doesn't happen. And then you obviously come to your conclusion. You know, my hypothesis was correct because it happened. I'm a genius. Or my hypothesis was incorrect. How surprising. Because the results say that it didn't happen. So my conclusion is that it doesn't happen. And now I move on to the next experiment. Do we all agree that that's what scientific method is? Yes? And you have the audacity to tell me that you don't use that when you do it every second of your life? You are all sitting in a seat at this particular moment, and I know that you have the hypothesis that you can get out of that seat. You actually believe you can get out of the seat you're sitting in, don't you? So in order to confirm that, you've got to see if you can get out, which at some time in the morning you will do. There are many people around the world, or were many people, who sat down in a seat, hypothesizing as a scientist that they would be able to get out, and they never got out. You hypothesize that if you decide you want a glass of water wherever you are, you will be able to get that glass of water. Do you not? And then you go through the experiment of walking into the kitchen, walking into the table, reaching out for the bottle, whatever it is you do, and pouring it in the glass to see whether it goes in the glass and not up into the air, which it might do, and sometimes has done. So every second of your life, you are a scientist. You pick up your pen and you think you're going to be able to write with it, but you don't know that. It's not 100% certainty. So all the time you are a scientist, and you have been a scientist from the moment you were born. And again, just double check, how many of you have children? Okay. Now how terrible that you are bringing up that child in the context of you not being a scientist. So that child will not learn to love the prediction, to love the question of will it happen or not, to check the result, to come to a conclusion and move on. And think about the baby. You've had the babies. I'm a baby. You give me a piece of paper. Is it going to last long in this state? No. And what is going to happen is something like this, isn't it?